Today, we're going to trace the story of health promotion, and really, it's a story about a field that's always been wrestling with its own power. It's this fascinating journey from a few simple rules to some really complex ethical questions. And it all kicks off with this constant tension between helping people and, well, controlling them.
And really, this is the question at the absolute heart of it all. It's the ethical tightrope that every single public health professional has to walk. At what point does trying to help someone improve their health cross a line and become trying to control their life? This is the core dilemma we're going to unpack today.
All right, so here's our roadmap. We're going to start way back at the philosophical beginnings, the DNA of the field, you could say. Then we'll jump to the 80s, when individual freedom became the rallying cry. From there, we'll dive into how the marketing playbook of the 90s created all these new ethical traps, navigate the digital challenges we face right now, and finally, land on this really important modern shift toward empowerment. So, long before health promotion was even a term, its ethical code was being written by two major forces: ancient medicine and modern philosophy. This is really the bedrock, the foundation that everything else we're going to talk about is built on. It all starts with pretty much the oldest rule in the book, the Hippocratic Oath. Before you even think about making something better, your first non-negotiable duty is to do no harm. And that doesn't just mean physical harm. It means psychological and social harm, too. This is the ultimate safety net for the entire field. Okay, this is where the debate really starts to get interesting. The philosopher Isaiah Berlin gave us these two key ideas of freedom. Negative freedom is super straightforward. It's freedom from interference. Basically, just leave me alone to do my thing. But positive freedom, that's more active. It's the freedom to reach your potential, to actually have the resources and opportunities to live a healthy life. And trust me, this distinction is going to be super important as we go.
And just like there are two ideas of freedom, there are two ways to look at health. The old-school pathogenic model is all about fixing what's broken. It just asks, why are people sick? But then, in the 70s, a sociologist named Aaron Antonovsky completely flipped the script with his salutogenic model. He asked a totally revolutionary question: what makes people healthy in the first place? This shift, from focusing on disease to focusing on well-being, was an absolute game changer.
So that brings us to the 1980s. You can think of this as the field's adolescence, you know? It's when it really started to figure out what it stood for, and the core value it decided to champion, above everything else, was autonomy, an individual's right to make their own choices.
And here it is, basically the mission statement from the landmark Ottawa Charter in 1986. The key words here are enabling and control. This makes it clear health promotion isn't about doing things to people, it's about giving them the power to do things for themselves. This officially put the individual right at the center of everything. Now, to give this mission some real structure, ethicists started applying these classic theories, and you can see the conflict right away. Look at natural law. It says you have the right to choose your own path. But then utilitarianism comes in and says, well, your bad choices can be restricted for the good of everyone else. And paternalism says we can even step in to stop you from hurting yourself. So this created a formal way to debate these incredibly difficult calls. And to make sure that enabling control didn't just turn into manipulation, thinkers laid out these kinds of rules for ethical persuasion. You have to be truthful. You have to admit what you don't know. You have to be upfront about your goals, speak in plain language, and, this is the big one, you have to actually listen to and respect the people you're trying to help. It's basically a blueprint for how to respect someone's autonomy. But there was a dark side to this intense focus on individual choice. It led to a really serious ethical trap: victim blaming. See, when you put all the emphasis on personal responsibility, you can accidentally ignore the fact that things like poverty or a person's environment can make healthy choices almost impossible. You end up blaming people for things that are way outside their personal control. As the field moved into its young adulthood in the 90s and 2000s, it started borrowing a powerful and pretty risky new toolkit: the strategies of commercial advertising. Now, this made health campaigns a lot more effective, for sure, but it also cracked open a whole new can of ethical worms. And this led to the big debate of that whole era. Is it actually okay to use fear to get people to change their behavior? I mean, think about those really graphic anti-smoking commercials. Do the ends justify the means here?
And this is the crucial thing to understand. While, yeah, fear can work, it comes with some really heavy costs. It causes real anxiety, and it can actually make people feel totally helpless, especially if they don't have the resources to change.
And maybe worse, it can stigmatize entire groups of people, creating this us versus them mentality that's just so damaging.
So, in response to that, a more compassionate strategy called harm reduction started to gain ground. The basic idea is to focus on preventing the worst possible outcomes, even if we can't get to some perfect ideal. But even this gets complicated. Like, think about when an alcohol company sponsors a designated driver campaign. Is that them genuinely trying to help? Or is it just a really clever way to distract from the harms their own product causes? It gets murky.
Which, of course, brings us to today. The explosion of digital media, smartphones, fitness trackers, health apps, it's created an entirely new frontier of ethical problems. The sheer scale and speed of modern technology has completely changed the game. And this slide just perfectly lays out the new minefield we're in. You've got the digital divide, which means that all these tech-based health solutions can actually make inequality worse. Then there's our personal health data being collected and used in ways we don't even understand, a huge privacy issue. And finally, apps and wearables, just by their nature, tend to focus us back on our own behavior, making it easy to forget the bigger social problems that really drive our health.
A really popular strategy in this digital era is nudging, basically making the healthy choice the easy default choice. So putting fruit at eye level in a cafeteria. It sounds great, right? But critics argue it's just a subtle, sneaky form of paternalism. It sort of manipulates your behavior subconsciously, pushing you in a certain direction without ever actually asking for your consent.
So where has this entire journey led us? Well, it's leading us to the most mature stage of this ethical story. It's a stage where the focus is moving beyond just respecting someone's choice to a much deeper, more profound goal, actually building a person's capacity to live well.
And this, right here, this is the climax of our whole story. See, autonomy is mostly about what professionals shouldn't do. Don't interfere, don't coerce. It's about protecting that negative freedom. But empowerment is about what professionals should do. Actively enable, support, and guide. It's not just about throwing information at people. It's about making sure they can understand it, use it, and build a real sense of control over their own lives. Hey, remember that positive freedom concept from the very beginning? This is it. This is what it looks like in the real world. Empowerment is the practical application of that idea. It's not just about the freedom to choose between salad and fries. It's about having the freedom to flourish, the freedom to cope with whatever life throws at you, and the freedom to build a meaningful life no matter your health situation.
So you can see the whole journey laid out right here. It's a really clear evolution, isn't it? From a simple, protective rule like do no harm, through the rise of autonomy and all those marketing strategies, to figuring out digital power, and finally landing on this sophisticated and really humanistic vision of empowerment.
And Matt leaves us with one final, pretty heavy thought. With today's technology and data, the tools to influence people are more powerful than they have ever been. The technical question of can we change someone's behavior, well, that's pretty much been answered. The much, much harder ethical question that we all have to grapple with now is, should we?